Hello YouTube, hello subscribers. So I was debating on whether or not to do this video, but I want to tell you guys a few things. For one thing, about AI. I've used AI, I've used Claude, ChatGPT. Those are probably my favorite AIs to use. I use Dolly to some extent, but I'll tell you something. I was working on this Chrome extension a while back called Chrome Bookmark Website Downloader. And I built it. It took me quite a while. It took me a week or two to get it working. And I thought it was, the shit because it was able to iterate or recursively iterate over the bookmarks in someone's, bookmark in Chrome, their bookmarks. And it was able to then you could uh, you could download all of your bookmarks, the web pages, to the computer. But what I found is there may have been a vulnerability in the regular expression that was used to do whatever in the bookmark uh, Chrome extension. And the problem with it was that I think someone exploited it to be able to then change the browser settings. So they're able to change the browser settings to instead of the home being Chrome, it was a different browser or a different website that was home, the home page. So people were accusing me of, you know, changing their browser settings in their browser, but I really hadn't. So the problem that I have, well, that's one of the problems I have with AI is that, it leaves room for vulnerabilities. And I'm not a master at regular expressions, in programming. So in programming, regular expression is something that kind of, it matches to a certain word or phrase or string or whatever. And so, I'm not a master at that. And it's kind of like its own programming language within itself. And the same thing happened to my AI Pit Stop app. Since I moved into my new apartment, I spent 5 or 6 months working on AI Pit Stop. It was supposed to be this one stop shop, kind of like, a restaurant that I won't name, but, it'd be like I named AI Pit Stop because I wanted to emphasize the fast nature of the app and getting people's programs working. And so I wanted it to be a freelance platform where people could communicate and collaborate on different projects. And I had a built in AI prompter inside of the app. So, I thought it was a little innovative because the bringing together the chat and and also it had a place where you could list gigs, like say someone wanted a website for their, pet business or whatever, pet grooming, just for an example. And they could list a gig on there and say, okay, I want people to, work on this gig. And so they would be able to apply to the gig and then you know they'd be able to work on it with the AI inside of the app. So anyway, pretty much nothing came out of the app. And during the same time, the Biden administration passed this bill where gig workers had to be viewed as full time or part time employees. So that kind of put a damper on my whole AI pit stop idea because I was going to have people get paid, inside the app, and then I would have them as independent contractors. So, anyway, there was that. So, when I moved into my apartment, my main goal, I was smoking cigarettes, so I was trying to quit smoking. So my main goal was just to find something that would occupy my time and, also be productive, something I could do, that would benefit me. And now, I'm at the end of my stay at my apartment and I don't have the money for, the rent pretty soon. So I'm running out of options. But, I thought about applying to a job or something, but with my schizophrenia, it's hard for me to be stressed. And I was just recently diagnosed with diabetes too. So, I have multiple health issues. I also think I'm developing pseudobulbar affect, and, it all impacts me. I don't think I could, you know, really handle a job, but I applied anyway to a couple jobs within my area and I didn't get hired. But, I've been praying, I've been, asking God for help, and everything. At least I did before I moved into my apartment. And then I kind of quit praying then because, the praying didn't seem to be helping. And whatever I was doing prior to living in my apartment, it seemed like it was making me have more symptoms, hear more voices. And then when I moved into my apartment, then I quit hearing the voices as much. They mostly, like in the morning, I'll hear the voices. Like this morning, for example, the voice said, that it just that it's not my choice, you know. And so they say things like that, especially in the morning or at night before I go to sleep. And I figure it's like they're trying to get into my subconscious, like they're trying to get right into what makes me me and program me in some way. And I don't like that. But anyway, I'm also, I started learning chemistry and organic chemistry and biology just because I don't know much about those things. When I was in high school, I started, a class in chemistry and biology, and because my life was so hectic back then, and there was such a confluence of, events that were happening and going on, and it was like the perfect storm. It forced me to have to, go to a different high school and everything. But I'm just trying to do my best. Without getting stressed out, it's hard following, the diet that I have to be on, but I've been exercising a lot. I've lost 5 pounds in like a week, and just exercising and not eating as much sugar or carbohydrates. Um, yeah, so as far as AI goes, I think AI is kind of cool. But the problem is if you just ask AI like build me a game, or if you just give AI a vague description of something, all it will do is spit out like someone else's work. So that's all that happens is like if like for instance asked AI build me a word counter for Chrome extension, and all it did was spit out someone else's app or Chrome extension. So it's done that to me multiple times. So I don't want to plagiarize or anything like that. So I've just kind of avoided AI for ever since I got done with my AI Pit Stop app. I mostly used AI. I mostly used AI to for AI pit stops so that I could, learn Kotlin better. And I ended up having to pretty much understand all the code anyway with AI pit stops. So, but yeah, I get tired of people like being like, accusing me of things that I didn't do online and things like that, especially like apps and Chrome extensions that I've made, because I wouldn't, hack into anyone's system, but that's at least what they were, trying to accuse me of. So anyway, that's about it. That's my update. Bye.